See, the biggest compliment I could give Tales of Tamriel is that this is now a consistently 3-hour plus podcast, and while listening, it doesn't feel that long at all. Aggelos and crew, thanks for your hard work, and I'll look forward to hearing many more. For the Pact.
Excellent. And we do appreciate all of you guys. And just so you guys know, all this stuff is out there. I'm not making any of this up. Because these are almost too nice. Just saying.
That's pretty nice.
Another one from Canada. Helpful and interesting podcast. 5 stars from Peter Panic. Good for people new to the game and deep enough for long-time players. Keep it up.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. You guys are fantastic. All right. Now we got some couple emails here.
We have one from Single Malt. Hey guys, love the podcast. I have a quick question for all of you. Is there a certain priority when it comes to spending attribute points? As I am an exclusive Magicka user, does it pay for me to throw every point I have into Magicka? Does it pay to throw all the points into health? Is it better to have a balance between health and Magicka? I would love to hear your different opinions on these questions about attribute points. Thanks for all you do for the ESO community. Love the show.
All right, I want to tackle this one. I kind of want to get all the host opinion, but first off, let's do it this way. Deltia, why don't you talk about this from the PvP perspective, and I'll talk about it from the PvE perspective. We may overlap, but I think there's some differences.
Well, I really think the PvE perspective is almost as trumps the PvP one. PvE, you need to have a certain amount of health so you don't get one shot, regardless of what role you are. That needs to be met. Usually that's around 2,600 health, or even more. PvP, it depends on what class you're playing, because if you're playing a Dragon Knight, for instance, your self-heal is based on the total amount of health you have. Thus, the more health you have, the more health you can heal yourself with. So as a Dragon Knight, I want a lot more health. Some of those other classes do the same thing. But really, what I tell people that come up with this attribute thing, you could put 49 into health. It doesn't matter. What matters is your numbers at endgame. If you're a magic user, you want to be soft capped at 2,400 and about 2,600 health. Doesn't matter stamina. If you're a stamina based user, you want 2,400 stamina, 2,600 health. So really how you get that is how you get that. Using your attributes in combination with glyphs is how you get your stats. So I tell people don't get too hung up on that. Really you want to hit your numbers, whether you have to change your attributes around your glyphs. That's what you're waiting to see. And I usually do that at end game, kind of mixing and matching. I go all health to start and then just do it like that. But that's just my take on it.
Okay. And I was going to say from the PvE perspective, there is a certain, if you're going to stick with one, you should pick you're a Magicka user, so you should focus on health and Magicka only, forget stamina. But what you got to do is you got to hit that soft cap for health, because there's certain bosses, like I know, this was an issue you had earlier before we changed your build around a little bit. We did the one veteran boss where they just did that crush, and even with shields, her health wasn't high enough to survive the one attack because it required a certain amount of health. No matter how hard we tried, she just couldn't live. Now, we redid her build and put some things in health and got her up past that soft cap, and the next time it was easy. But there is that soft cap in health. Honestly, and I'm going to say this with Deltia, I think it's almost easier to plan around, do your enchants the way you think you want to do it to get your caps for whatever, either if you want to go health or Magicka, and then put your points in your attributes later, because it's cheaper to respec your attributes than it is to respec or buy new glyphs, especially at high end. So I'd say almost like get your gear on, enchant it the way you think you want to go. I almost say aim for enchants, like let's just say Magicka. Do all Magicka enchants until you hit that cap, and then throw the rest into health, and then mess with your attribute points. That's how I tend to do things, because it's cheaper to respec your health or your attributes than it is to buy new glyphs as a whole. That's my opinion. I may or may not be correct. Thais, what do you think?
I have no points in Magicka at the moment, and I very rarely ever run out of MP. I personally love all my points in health, because ever since I changed that, I die a lot less frequently. My Magicka is still perfect. It was the wisest choice for me.
Mm-hmm. And you're wearing all light armor for the most part, so your magicka regen is very high, so you're not running into that as much. Elloa, do you have any points to throw into here?
The problem is that you're better with theory crafting than I am. I've put everything in Magicka because I want everything in Magicka.
Sure.
So that's what I've done for now. I'm using stamina as well with my new build since I changed the stuff for the shield. And so how I've done, I've put all my points in Magicka and I'm crafting my gear myself and my glyph myself. So I'm just adjusting like that, and I'm using the set bonus, and I find a cool one. Don't remember the name. You find it in Bankorai, and it allows you to have a bit of magicka regen, a bit of stamina regen, and
Willow's
health regen. And yes, thank you. That's the one.
As soon as you said it, I'm
using
like,
for
I know, because almost every caster asked me for it.
Yeah, it's a really nice one for the build I'm making. And considering that I really want to have as much magic as possible and that I can heal myself, there's a situation like Deltia is speaking where you have your one shots because you don't have enough health, and I think that you see that more at higher level, probably when you do Dragon Star Arena or probably a veteran dungeon, which I'm not doing yet on the live server. So I would probably have to adjust that to have the health to enough to not be one shot, but I will adjust that later.
Yeah, I mean, I say, the nice part is up until endgame, like if you, like serious endgame, I'll put it that way, this game allows you to really play however you want, and you're not really penalized for it much. It's not until you get into those really hard dungeons where it's like, hey, we kind of have a certain limit. And I think that's good. But the thing is, it's hard to say, like I said, it's dependent on your build as well. And when I say build, I don't just mean skill layout. I'm talking the armor you use. That's part of your build. Deltia will agree with you. You go arena set, your health is up there because it gives all those points to health, and the way you build your character, not just your skill sets. In other games, your skill sets what determines your build. This game, what you're wearing, your accessories, where your points are spent in health, magic, stamina, as well as your skill points and your passives determine a lot of what makes your character and unique. So it's hard to really judge, but like I said, one of the easiest ways to do this is to make your sets the way you want, and then start putting points in slowly at a time and watch your soft caps. For people who like add-ons, I know, Elloa, you don't use add-ons and Thais. You guys are like kindred hearts. You guys don't use add-ons. I will urge one, and Deltia probably will too. It's called soft cap info. It lets you see what your soft cap is before you overcharge. So it's nice to watch that so you can see, oh, I only need 60 points of stamina to max out and hit soft cap. This enchant does 75. Well, maybe I change that enchant and just move my points in my attributes.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
I have a video on this, and I know, yes, I'm promoting myself or whatever, but
Oh.
I had a video on this where I go through and I theory craft a build, and I show you exactly how I do it, from crafting the enchantments, from changing my attributes to respecking, how I go about doing it. So I send around a couple of abilities, and it's called How to Craft for a Build on YouTube. And I show you, like, I mess up a couple glyphs. It's a process. It takes a long time. I mean, it takes 4 hours for me to sit down and do it and get the numbers right. And you don't have to do that, like Aggelos said. But if you're doing Dragonstar Arena, if you're doing Trials, you have to. I mean, there's very few stamina builds that can. And even if you are running a stamina build, you have to hit those really, really important numbers and values. But you can play the way you want. You're just not going to be optimized unless you do a specific cookie cutter thing. And this game, just like everyone else, has certain specs or builds or whatever you want to call it that are optimal. You can deviate from them a little bit, but really, what the people are running in Trials, they told me to use it, and I'm like, that's BS. It's not going to really do that much better. I did it. and wow, it was that much better. So those people on Tamriel Foundry and some of the other sites, they know what they're talking about. They really do. So, my guides and my builds and stuff, if you're really looking for min-maxing stuff, Tamriel Foundry, TSO Elite, my site, they're really good resources. So think about using those too.
Absolutely. If you're looking to min-max, and Deltia's guides are a perfect example of this, there's things you can do. But I will say this for the people, play the game the way you want to, enjoy it. And when you finally hit that point where it's like, I want to start doing the super hard content, then start looking at change. You can have multiple builds. There's nothing wrong with having multiple builds. I know Deltia has. I do. I have a solo build that I run around with, but it's fun for questing. It's, has self-heal, stuff like that I don't put out the best numbers, but I can get around and do what I want.
You'll find out real quick, if your build can hold up or not. You will, and unfortunately, it's not going to be nice. When you go in a dungeon, you're the weak link, and you're dying, and you can't block, and you can't do this and that. That's when you start finding out. But it's going to take a while before that happens. I mean, look at me. I'm getting my butt kicked on the stream here. Like, I'm a Dragon Knight. I'm level 7. I'm dying because I'm just missing one ability before I get really, really, really nasty. So, I mean, there could be just one little thing you're missing, like crit surge on a sword or something, and then as soon as you get that ability, boom, the game becomes easy. So, just got to play around with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something I've realized also. I tend to not be a min-maxer because, in general, simply because I believe that it's good to be a min-maxer if your skill, your capabilities of moving, your gamer skill are at the maximum. And as I know I'm not, I don't bother to min-max my gear because it will not compensate my clumsiness. But I realized what I was doing during all my leveling was to reach like level 30, and at level 30 I was crafting my new set of gear that I will use for 10 level. So I was using good material and really doing what I wanted because I was using it for 10 level. But at the end of the 10 level, I realized that I started to die, etc. I say, oh yes, so my gear is doing something. Mm-hmm. There is a difference. And what I like in ESO, at least, is that you can make it yourself. You don't need to just farm it in the dungeon.
And I really don't want to scare away players. I really think, and Deltia may tell me I'm wrong with this, but I think other than the hardest of content, meaning veteran Dragon Star Arena and Trials, the game's pretty forgiving with builds.
Yeah.
Other than the top-end content. But if you're content, and here's the thing, and Elloa, you said it perfectly with, like, if you want min-max, if your gamer skills are up there, you're aiming for that end-game content. If you go into the mind that going, hey, this is the type of player I am, and I'd like to do content, but I'm going to either wait till newer content and they nerf it, so to speak, to make it not end game, not the top tier or whatever, or what your limitations are, you can pretty much do any build you want to an extent. So play the way you want, but if you want to do end game, like the super hard end game, you got to get in your head that there's certain builds that this is how it works. But then again, you're in that mindset to play that end game, so it's not hard for you to switch at that point because you're like, well, this is what I want to do. This is my goal, and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
When I tell players, I'm not the best at this game yet. I'm not, and when I get there, I'll be the first one to tell you I am. But if you want to be a really good player, you got to think about 3 things: it's gear, skill, and commitment. The good players I look up to and ask questions, like the Kips of the world, they get there because they ask a lot of questions. They ask questions. The best players are the ones that always ask questions. Why are you doing this? Not how, why. So when I get someone that asks me about a build, why is that good? that's when I know the player really wants to understand fundamentally why. Because I ask way more questions than I ever give out. Believe me, I'm asking people all the time, why is this better? Why is this good? Why is the Trials gear good? Well, it has, more crit. Okay, I'll try it. And then make your own evaluation. But honestly, you got to come up, what's your goal? Is it to be the Emperor in the hardest core PvP server? Is it just to play and have fun? If you want to play and have fun and do two-handed sword and stuff like that, play and have fun. If you want to be the top player in the world, you're going to have a different attitude and mindset. So, just do what you want to do and have fun. But if you want to be the best, there's things for that. If you want to dink around and play quests and stuff like that, like I did when I first started out, I didn't know Dragon Knight was good. I was terrible. I was dying all the time. I thought these abilities that I had were just junk. And then all of a sudden, Kipster told me, no, that's actually one of the best abilities in the game. Oh, well, I didn't know that. So we all find that out. But be inquisitive. Be inquisitive. Always ask questions. Ask people, if you see someone doing something really good, why are you doing that? How are you doing that? Teach me. You're going to go a lot further than just doing a cookie cutter build.
Sure. Absolutely. Great comments, guys. All right. We have one more email.
Oh, God.
From Arcanir.
Oh, the poem? Oh, no.
Greetings. Well, it's been a long time since I sent an email to the show, so here it is. You already know that I love the show, so I'll skip the part where I say you guys are awesome and present a poem instead. Keep in mind that I have no idea about writing a poem and not sure if it rhymes or not. Either way, here it is. Tales of the Three. Among the most amazing community, a podcast hosted by three, telling tales of Tamriel contributing to that community. It was episode 13 when I first tuned in. Then I heard a voice reading, beautiful it was, got me hanging. Since then I am listening as Dao and Thais are fighting, while Ag stands there laughing. It's hard to find a verse ending. This poem makes no sense, and I have no idea on poetry. Still I have to say that this podcast still amazes me. Aggelos the kind and wise plays a Templar that he loves, curses the Aren he despises as she drinks in Shore's halls. Beautiful her voice is, our lovely Twit Queen Thais. She is the joy of the show, master of blind healings. None can survive his rants as he faces the hate against the elves, crushing his foes with his epic builds. Deltia is the PvPer of Tamriel. Couldn't find an ending, so Dunmer, Dragon Knight, Vampire. An entire map just dies, if he's also the Emperor. Yeah, that's it. I wonder how it will sound, LOL. Also, I still remember that I have a couple Dawnbreaker to craft, but things just keep happening. I couldn't find time to tend to them. But I will finish them as soon as I can. I'm sorry for the delay. My first email was full of grammar mistakes, and Thais had a hard time to read it. Sorry about that, Thais. I hope this one is okay. Hopefully I'll tune in and listen to the show tomorrow. Until then, take care, and may Sithis protect you.
Yay, Ark! And I think Ark... Oh, he is in the chat. Yay, Ark! We love Ark. He's fantastic.
You can get him back on the show.
Poem.
Oh, yeah. We had him on the show at one point.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. You gotta get him on again. I love having...
Yes.
these guys on here.
That was
Yes.
Cool. That was cool. I like that.
I actually really liked the ending.
Yeah,
That's
Dragon
funny.
Knight, Dunmer, Vampire.
Everything
Fireman
nice. It doesn't rhyme, but it's funnier than heck,
It is. It's awesome. Thank you so much. I love it. I love this community. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
So, 2.5 hours in, time for final thoughts. Closing. Yeah. It's my least favorite time of the show because now we have to end it. And it sucks because I love talking to you guys and I think we had a lot of fun on this show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, all right. As is per our normal, Thais, why don't you go ahead and go first and tell us your final thoughts for this episode of Tales of Tamriel?
My favorite part was definitely the poem. I thought it was amazing. I'm so happy to have Arcanir as part of this amazing community. He is fantastic, and he definitely needs to come on the show again. And it was a great show having Elloa here. I love her. She's so awesome, and it was just great hearing her opinions on the topics that we discuss every week.
Okay, awesome. And let's go, Deltia. How about you, good sir? Tell us your final thoughts for this episode. and where they can find you as well. I always forget to say that.
DeltiasGaming.com or at DeltiasGaming on YouTube and Twitter. It was nice having Elloa on the show. I've seen your YouTube videos, and I know you have like a different perspective than I do. And so it's nice to find different gamers that enjoy different aspects of the game instead of just one thing. And so I think you and Thais are like sisters or something. I don't know across the sea, but yeah, it was great having you on the show. So thanks for coming on.
All right, awesome. And now time for our guest, Elloa. Why don't you tell us a little bit what your thought for this final thoughts for show and where people can find you, of course.
I had awesome time. Thank you so much to have invited me. It was really cool to speak with you and to have all those stories we shared together about the lore and our favorite quest. I really, really enjoyed that part. And so thank you so much to have invited me. I'm really, really happy. I've spent a great time. And you can find me on Elloa Wendy on YouTube, on Twitter, and Elloa on Anuk.com.
Excellent. Everyone should follow her. She's awesome. You should. Just do it. All right. And I do want to thank all my co-hosts for joining me this evening. I do want to thank Elloa. Thank you so much for coming on the show. The Tales section was so much fun. It was fun to have that passionate discussion about quests and just the atmosphere of the game as a whole. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I think that was probably one of the best Tales sections I think we've ever had, because we had that nice back and forth about the Tales and just how we felt about Quest. It was really cool. Let's see here. Of course, love the game. So excited for it. I'm upset that they didn't ask or answer our questions. So, Paul Sage, come on our show and let us come and visit you.
Console release. He's going to release the consoles on the show, the console date.
That would be great. Why don't you come on the show and announce the console release?
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Paul Sage.
You're asking for a lot here, guys.
I'd be happy with just I'm going to drive down, just stand outside their office with a big sign going, "We love you," and let us inside. That's what I'm going to do. Because they're only like 3 hours from our house. So, I'm willing for a road trip. Yeah, let's do it. Awesome show, guys. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone in the community as well for listening to the podcast and writing us those reviews. They all were fantastic, and the emails. Honestly, you guys are great. Like we get a lot of emails and iTunes reviews on the show, and it's so nice to have a community who's willing to do that, who wants to talk to us. It's great. We do this for you guys. We love doing it, but being able to interact with the community is one of our favorite things to do. And, we love bringing on guests. Elloa, you were fantastic. We love all of our guests. And, of course, all of our guests have a freestanding, invite to come back whenever you guys would want. Absolutely. Just let us know, and we will gladly bring you on. We love having that fourth person to kind of make our car run straight, because 3 wheels, we kind of tip off a little bit.
Yeah, well, Thais is the one over on the back left.
She's the one wheel, and that's
I'm the lone wheel.
You're the lone wheel.
I'm totally cool with making it tilt back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for listening. If you do wish to help support the podcast, you can either feel free to donate via the PayPal link on the website, or tell a friend about us. That's the best way you can support us, is tell a friend about us. And, about the show, about DeltiasGaming.com, about our guest host, Elloa. Go out and follow her as well. If you wish to contact us with questions, comments, criticisms, the website for the show is talesoftamriel.com. You can email the show at podcast@talesoftamriel.com. I'm going to add a little excerpt in here as well. If you have questions for any guest we ever had on the show, you can still email them to us. I'm in contact with all of them. We can get them on the show to answer. We can, pass it to them, and whatever the case may be, let us know. We'll put you in contact. You can also follow the show on Twitter at Tales of Tamriel. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tales of Tamriel podcast. Also, feel free to rate and subscribe to us via iTunes. And if you missed the live show or want to catch up on any past broadcasts or our YouTube exclusive content, you can subscribe to us at youtube.com/Tales of Tamriel. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a good night.